Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our admitted student virtual event here. And wherever you are around the world, we thank you for taking some time out of your day to learn a little bit more about the Boston University community and all that we have to offer. And first and foremost, congratulations to all of you for being admitted to the class of 2023. If you haven't heard, it was a very competitive year at Boston University, but you did it, and we're so excited for you to be part of the class coming up this fall. So this is a virtual event held by BU Admissions, and we want you to send in your questions. If you have any questions for our great panelists that we'll have later on this evening, please send those questions to us. We have a ton of information to share with you, and they have some great and terrific insight into what life is like at Boston University as a BU Terrier. And so before we get to the panel, I wanted to share some information and some context of how the class was shaped up and how we made the class, and as well as just some context of your classmates coming up in the fall semester. So as we go through the class profile here, as you can see from some of the numbers that we have displayed here on the screen, there is so much going for this class in particular, and just, again, showcasing that competitiveness and the success of the class itself, and showcasing the fact that with 62,210 applications came in for a spot in our freshman class. We were looking for a class size around 3,100 students, and overall, at the end of the cycle here and sending out those decisions this past weekend, we saw that the average rank in high school was the top 7% in the class. That is incredible. The average overall GPA for our students was around an A- average for the class as a whole. The average SAT score was on 1468, and the average ACT was around a 33 as a composite score. So again, very strong class, and we can't express enough how great it is that you are a part of one of many of these students who we hope that we make BU your home for the next 4 years or so in your college career. And so coming up, we have some great programming that we want to offer for all of our students who were admitted to the university, and this really comes down to our open houses that are happening in April. So in just a few short weeks, we have many open house programming for all of our students that were admitted, and you can see on the screen for your specific school and college, there are certain dates in which you'll have an opportunity to come onto campus to learn about the community in your academic journey. You'll get to hear from current students on campus. You'll be able to explore campus and see all the services that are offered to all of our students, and you get to eat on campus as well. And if nothing else, just to get to explore and to take in the BU experience that our students get to have each and every day. And so every school and college is represented for open houses, so make sure you take a look at all those dates that we have in mind and that we have for you, so you can come through and see what it's all about. However, if you're not able to come to campus, we have many options for you for an off-campus involvement and engagement with BU, and to really get to know some of your other classmates as well, and to hear from students, faculty, and from the admission staff at our off-campus receptions. And so we have 21 U.S. cities that we're going to. We also have receptions from all around the world that will be able to congratulate you all and to talk to you a little bit about the BU experience, and to, again, to have your voices be heard, but also to hear the voices from BU ourselves, and to get a nice perspective and insight as to what exactly BU is as a university. And so, again, we're going to go all over the world for our off-campus receptions, so be on the lookout for those invitations, and we would love to see you at any of those receptions that you see there. Now, coming up, next steps, right? So you've been admitted to the university. You're so excited to have you. So now what's up next? And so coming up in March and April, I want to go through some of the steps that we have for you here. You would want to RSVP to and attend an open house program on campus. Again, like I mentioned before, each school and college has their own separate open house that we have. And so you want to see which school and college you were admitted to, and then go to that respective open house at that time. You also may want to RSVP to and attend an off-campus class of 2023 reception, as I was mentioning. So again, those 21 U.S. cities and then cities from around the world to congratulate you, welcome you to the community and the campus as well. You might want to RSVP for one of those events coming up. Maybe you want to visit the admitted students website to learn more about life at BU. That website has tremendous information about just overall life at the university, from academics to social life and everything in between, housing, and what the next steps are for our admitted students. You also may want to submit your new student housing application, and so you want to watch for an email coming up with those instructions that will lay out bit by bit exactly what you have to do in order to apply for the housing here on campus. So that's for March and April, end of this month as well as next month. But now into May. So in May, May 1st is the deposit deadline. And so you want to submit your $650 deposit, enrollment deposit by May 1st to secure your place in the freshman class of 2023. We also want to, you want to accept your financial aid assistance award. So if you haven't done so already, please do so. And again, all that information you can actually find in your MyBU portal account. And so all that information can be found online at that account, both your acceptance as well as next steps for you and as well as your financial assistance information. If you haven't done so already, you want to create your, at that time afterwards, you want to create your BU email account. So you want to watch for, again, another email from us, instructions on how to create your BU email. You want to register after that for your university orientation session. Now, this happens after you do your enrollment deposit post May 1st. And so if you're interested in wanting to figure out exactly when you want to attend orientation, there will be information updated on the website for orientation coming up. So don't worry. By May 1st and beyond, we'll have that information uploaded for you on the website, and you'll be able to register for orientation at that time. And then, of course, you want to submit your BU alert contact information after that point as well. So many steps here, but again, you can find all this information on the website as well as through your MyBU portal account when you have access to it as well. And this, as I was mentioning, for those orientation sessions, you can see here for every school and college, there are different dates for you to attend your orientation. So you can take a look at when those dates are. You can see those black dots that will indicate which date and which sessions will be for your respective school or college. There are some caveats to some of these as well. Students admitted to the CGS Boston London program may attend any of the sessions in June. So even though your program will start in January, you still are able to attend a session in June in the summertime. Winter welcome events will also be offered on campus in January 2019. So if you are unable to attend any of these sessions, if you are a part of the CGS Boston London program, you can still be a part of these welcome events in the winter, starting in January of the semester which you arrive on campus. Just for a note for transfer students, only transfer students should attend this session for special programming when it comes to the August 29th through the 31st. So you see those stars there. So again, for transfer students in particular, if you're looking to do an orientation session for the for the July 11th and 13th is when the transfer students should attend that event. And international students are encouraged to attend any university orientation session that your visa status permits. There will be additional mandatory programming on August 31st, regardless of which session you attend. So again, you are more than welcome to attend any of our sessions, but there will be some additional mandatory programming on the 31st of August for you to be a part of. So after all is said and done for May, now we get to June. So in June, you would want to ask your school to send a final transcript showing your proof of graduation. This is part of our overall admissions and enrollment process here. You'd want to send in your advanced placement or AP scores to BU if applicable. So if you did any AP coursework through your course your high school and you did the exams as well, you want to submit your AP scores to BU around the June timeframe, so that way we can get you those credits applied to your account. You would want to submit your immunization and physical and incoming health history forms. So watch an email for how that process will be for when you arrive here for this fall. And as again mentioned again, please try to attend an orientation session. That's a great way for you to meet some of your classmates, get to know the university as a whole, and also to start picking your classes for the fall semester. And then in July, really big step is to contact your future roommate at some point. And so you'd want to, again, if you may find somebody at orientation, and then by July you want to see who you want to room with, but there'll be more instructions, more details coming your way into finding that roommate and for the whole housing process to be complete at that time. So overall, after all that we talked about, we want you to continue to stay connected with us through all the various, not only social media accounts, but just on our website as well. If you have any questions at all, you can always send us these questions to us during this session today. But of course, the undergraduate admissions office is available Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time for any questions or concerns you may have moving forward. But again, congratulations on your acceptance. We're so thrilled to have you as part of the class of 2023. And before we get to our tremendous panel here this evening, I want to share a quick message from our community and a fun video from our Dean of Admissions. So here we go.
Greetings from Boston University. I'm Kelly Walter, Dean of Admissions, and we're filming a very fun segment today called Dean on the Street. But before we begin, I want to say my heartfelt congratulations to all our new Terriers. Welcome to Boston University. Now, let's go meet some real live BU students. Here we go. Look who I found on the street. It's Rhett, our mascot. Hey, Rhett. Woo! What's the best place for incoming first-year students to live?
I think the best place for first-year students to live is definitely Warren Towers.
I wonder if you can give any advice to our incoming students about how they prepare for weathering a Boston winter.
I would say it's all about layers, so invest in a nice coat and some nice warm sweaters.
Quick question.
Yes.
What's the best place at BU for an impromptu dance party?
Right here at the BU Beach.
For a Rhett high five, who's the best collegiate hockey team in Boston?
Boston University, of course.
For a high five from Rhett, how many lobsters are served at lobster night?
I'm going to say about 2,000 lobsters.
Rhett?
4,000? 8,000?
8,000? High five from Rhett. What do you love most about Boston University?
Rat!
Ray!
I would have to say the Questrom School of Business.
Definitely my professors.
The dining halls.
I love everything about BU.
Curious, what's your favorite place to eat in the student union?
Oh, it's definitely Rhett's.
Definitely Rhett's. So who's the coolest college president?
I'm going to have to go with Dr. Brown.
Go Terriers!
All right. Well, again, welcome back. And now, as you can see, we are joined by some incredible students here for our panel today. And we're going to do a quick introduction of who they are, obviously, and then we're going to get some of your questions that you've submitted throughout this evening so far. So if we can go down the line, students, if you don't mind doing your first name, first last name if you want, where you're from, the school or college you're a part of, and what class year you are. So we'll start here.
Hi everyone, my name is Bella Mandrano. I am currently a senior here at BU. I'm studying in our College of Arts and Sciences. I'm double majoring in political science and psychology and minoring in Spanish, and I'm originally from San Clemente, California.
Hi everyone, my name is Fran Ogilvie. I'm a senior in the Questrom School of Business studying organizational behavior, and I'm originally from Uruguay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Reed. I'm a junior in the College of Communications studying public relations, and I'm originally from Chicago. South side of Chicago.
Hey, it's nice. We're going to be specific.
Exactly.
Awesome. So I'm going to kick off the questions here, and then we had some incredible questions already come through for us. So we'll start down here. So Bella, can you talk about why you ultimately actually chose Boston University way back when in this college search?
Way back when, 4 years ago. I'm coming from California, like I said, so it was a pretty big deal for me to decide to go to school all the way across the country. But basically, BU kind of checked all of the boxes I was looking for, at least on paper. It was somewhere that was pretty diverse, that had a lot of academic flexibility, had a great study abroad options. But essentially what really convinced me was coming to campus for the first time. I came to see my cousin who was graduating the year before I came as a freshman, and I came to see her graduate in May, and it was so incredible to see the vibrant energy of this campus and to see how excited the students were, not only the ones that were graduating, but the other students who were there to support them. And I could really just tell that this campus was a place that I would really be thriving, and that I totally belonged.
Nice.
Well, for me, I'm from Uruguay, and I went to high school in Panama, so I was very far away, and I didn't have the opportunity to visit any college campus in America, and I ended up applying to a couple schools in the U.S. just as a why not, and BU happened to be on that list. And what really solidified it for me was Liam McCarthy, who was the admissions director for my region. He came to visit my high school after I had gotten admitted, and I looked at it in a very, table flip position. So I was where you guys are. I was admitted. It was kind of my turn to make a choice, and I decided I was going to make it a little bit difficult for Liam to convince me to come to BU. And I was just coming up with all sorts of questions about, I want to start a club, I want to take classes outside my major, I want to go abroad, I want to do it in 4 years, I want to intern. I was giving what I thought were difficult to meet challenges, and he told me, yes, you can do that too, of course. And then he was coming up with additional things that I hadn't even asked about to tell me, you can do all this. So he was telling me a dream, and once I got here, and after 4 years being a senior, everything that I wanted to do, I was able to do, and it's one of the best decisions I've been able to make, was coming here. And it was, I trusted Liam, and I trusted the idea of BU without visiting, and it everything realized. So it was a good sell on Liam's part.
Nice. Yeah. Manny, what do you think?
Yeah, I remember when I was in you guys' position as well, and I got in, BU really made sure to make a personal investment in me. So I remember the day I was coming out from rugby practice, and BU called me to let me know that I got in. Then they hung up the phone, and then 10 minutes later, they called me again, inviting me to an event that you might hear about later on this program, called Multicultural Weekend. And so from the get-go, BU wasn't just one of the schools that sent all of the flashy, flyers and car decals and promotional materials. They really wanted to make sure that they were getting to know me as a person, and they knew who I was, and they heard my story, and that they wanted to make sure that I actually ended up coming here. And then when I got here, similar to Bella's point, I fell in love with the community here. People were answering questions. The city and the community itself, the campus was very vibrant. There's a lot of things going on, and so that also helped coming from Chicago, going from a city to a city, kind of helped make things feel more natural and feel at home. And so when I left the trip, I knew that I could see myself really growing, also struggling here, but overall coming into the person that I wanted to be on this particular campus. And so that's why I chose BU.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about community, really from the start of the journey here to meeting with assistant directors to then the actual calls that you get, and really to be that first impression. And part of that community and part of that starts with your roommate selection, right? And trying to figure out exactly who you want to be roommate with. That's a big decision for many folks. And so, can each of you kind of go down the line and kind of quickly talk about how you actually found your freshman roommate? Yeah.
I can start. Yeah. So I actually decided to go completely random for my freshman year roommate. I was like, I don't know, I'll just see how it goes. And I ended up rooming with a girl from China who was actually a sophomore. Her name was Lingxi, and it was a really cool experience because I had never been to China and didn't know much about her and her culture, and I got to learn a lot through living with her for a whole year and getting to know her. So it was cool. Random worked out.
Yeah.
I was a little bit freaked out about the idea of a random roommate. So I went on the Facebook group, and when I was going to be a freshman, it was class of 2019. And it was a lot of people were posting like, hey, these are my sleeping habits. These are the things I like to do for fun. And I kind of wanted to, being from a Latin country, and I wanted to be able to keep speaking Spanish when I was at BU. So I ended up living with this girl from El Salvador, but we thought we were going to live, the both of us together. But then we ended up living in a quad. So I got to live with 2 additional people, so it was kind of the random experience and kind of the selected experience. And I felt really lucky because I got along amazingly with the 2 girls that were random roommates ultimately. So I feel like I'm lucky that I also had that, additionally to the girl who I had picked, because I feel like sometimes it is a good idea to trust the random roommate selection, because when you're posting on Facebook, you're putting your absolute best foot forward. And I think when you do the roommate survey for random selection, you get to be honest in an anonymous way of your habits. And BU, I think, does an amazing job of pairing people off with a good random roommate. So, but I had the experience of both, and it worked out.
My freshman year, I had a student from China named Jeremy. Jeremy was very interesting, great guy. He actually went to boarding school in California, so he was a little bit used to American culture by the time he was a freshman with me as well. But going random, I also wanted to trust the process and kind of just, wanted to throw myself out there. And my older siblings had also done random as well. And Jeremy and I got along, but we had different living habits and also different interests. He was an avid gamer. So, the 2 a.m. mouse clicking kind of got old after a while, but that whole situation did force me to be a better communicator. And it taught me valuable lessons in trying to work through conflicts and learning how understanding other people and their interests and passions. And so by the end of the year, we were on the same page. And after having worked through these problems, we still are in contact to this day.
That's awesome. And there's so many opportunities and interests that students have on campus, and we're going to be jumping around a lot when it comes to whether that's involvement on campus or experiential learning opportunities. And so one of the questions that we just received is actually about study abroad, which is a really popular program for our students. I think everyone here has some sort of experience. We could probably talk about it for hours and on end, but I just want to keep it short here, obviously, because we have a lot more questions to get through. But if we can go down the line, talk about the process of your abroad experience and/or what's going to happen in the future with an abroad experience would be great. And so let's start actually down there. We'll start with Manny. What about you? So with your sort of study abroad journey here at the university.
Definitely.
Yeah.
My journey has actually just begun.
Yeah,
I recently was accepted into the Australia program, into the Sydney. Thank you. So now it's the lovely journey of filling out the paperwork.
Nice.
So, but yeah, the program is structured so students will go abroad, and before they leave, they have a guaranteed internship placement. And so the first part of my program will be taking classes in Australian culture and Aborigine culture and things like that, as well as experiencing Sydney and Australia and also the surrounding area as well. And then the second part of the program will be a guaranteed internship. And so once all those things get worked out before this semester concludes, I will have the contact information for employers and things like that. And so the second half will be working in the field of my interest in the actual Australian culture.
Awesome.
I'm smiling this big because I went to Sydney last semester.
You put me out to the program.
I told him he should apply. And it's going to be the best. So I was in Sydney last semester from August to December, and I got there and I took classes, and I took classes towards my major. So when I wasn't behind or anything, I was perfectly on track to graduate, and I got to intern at PwC Australia. And it was amazing to be able to intern in a different work setting, because I had interned in Boston before, and having kind of the differences between a Boston internship and an Australian internship, and how Australians really, really love their coffee, and instead of meetings, you have coffee catch-ups, and kind of experiencing how they do their work day and how that's different from an American work day. And that ultimately inspired me to move away from the U.S. after graduation and find a job in another country, because I like experiencing new settings. So it was a really amazing opportunity to get to do that. And BU structures it so amazingly that you don't lose time, you gain experience, and you're also doing it in a way that you're on track to graduate. All the classes that you can take abroad all count towards something at BU because they're by BU professors. So like being able to do classes and an internship in a new place was so phenomenal.
So I actually had a little bit of a different study abroad experience. I was not in Australia. I spent last spring in Madrid, Spain, and it was an incredible experience. I did one of our language and cultural immersion programs where I lived with a local family as my host family, and it was so much fun. My host family was just a 77-year-old woman named Lola, but she became my homie. We became really tight by the end of the program, and I was enrolled in a local Spanish institute where I was taking all of my classes completely in Spanish. I completed my Spanish minor while I was there, so that worked out really well. And it was an amazing opportunity where I really grew a lot, not only with my language skills, but a lot personally, basically like learning so much about myself and what it is I want. And returning to the U.S., I feel like all of those lessons I could definitely bring back with me here in Boston. Right, Fran?
Mm-hmm. Did abroad change you?
And as much as our students love to leave campus, right, and explore the world, but we also love to be here on campus. And to let you know that around 85% of our students do elect to live on campus. Housing is guaranteed for you all 4 years while you're here. So part of that, in terms of living here on campus, is an important question that we all want to know. How's the food, yo? So going down the line here, if you don't mind, Bill, we'll start with you. Favorite place to eat on campus, and how do you like food?
There's so many good places to eat on campus. My favorite is probably Basho Express, which is a sushi place, because me being that California girl, I love my seafood. And the food in the dining halls is actually so good. I think that's a lot of people's fear, is that the food will be absolutely inedible, and that is not the case. The freshman 15 is real when the food is that good, so watch out. But yeah, I really loved having a dining plan where I could go in and have all of the different creative meals that our wonderful dining staff came up with every single day. There was something new and different, and it was a really fun environment to be able to be in too, where staff was really friendly. You got to know people sitting in the dining hall, so good time.
Yeah, as a senior, I find myself begging my underclassmen friends to swipe me into the dining hall because I don't have a dining plan anymore, and I miss those breakfast potatoes, you know. But I think my favorite, yeah, the omelet. My favorite additional food place on campus, it has to be Einstein's Bagel, because you can get a bagel for like $2.99, which is amazing, and it's like always so fresh and delicious, and like the people who work there they like know me by name now, which is really lovely. But maybe I go too much. But yeah, there's so many, like from sushi to bagels, and I'm sure whatever your favorite place is, there's a lot of variety, which is great.
I'm gonna be classic and keep it at the GSU. You know, the food court, you got options, you got family, you got places to go. They also know you by name at Ritz. The Terrier Sunrise is always a go-to favorite. So a lot of good choices.
You know, we talk about community from food into your academic programs, experiential learning. For many students, though, that might be their first time in a big, urban setting, especially in Boston. You know, kind of experiencing that city life. And so, I'd be curious, either Bella or Fran, can you talk from a woman's perspective, and then Manny from a male's perspective? How do you feel about the safety on campus, and do you feel safe on BU's campus?
Yeah, that's a really valid concern. I'm coming from a very suburban place, so it was a concern of mine when I first arrived here. But I have always felt so incredibly safe being here on our campus. I've always lived on campus, and that extra security that we have in all of our residence halls really puts my mind at ease anytime I feel even vaguely paranoid, because we have security at the bottom floor of all of the halls that I've lived in, and I have always just really felt like I'm never in a place where I'm in danger. I don't know if you could speak to that.
Yeah, and myself as well. I'm involved in a lot of things, so sometimes I end up going home kind of late, and that usually might be scary, but I grew up in cities, so I'm kind of used to that. But on top of that, we have a lot of services that the university offers. We have a service where students will stay up late, and you can call a number on the back of your BUID, and they can come and get you, and they'll walk in pairs. So it'll be a male and a female student will come and walk you from, say, I'm studying in the library late, and they'll walk me to my dorm. And also, the BU PD here is awesome. Like, throughout my time at BU, I've gotten to work at 2 different capacities with the university, and I've gotten to meet some of the police officers, and they're just such lovely, lovely people, and they patrol quite often. They're just stationed around to make sure that, you know, if something happens, they're around. But I've found myself that I feel very, very safe, and it's nice that because BU is on Commonwealth Avenue, which is a main street, it's always properly illuminated. Like, it's never really dark. And I think when I'm walking alone and it's dark, that's when I get scared, but I can see from where I am to where I need to be. So I feel very safe.
And with that point, with the BU PD, since there's so many schools in this area, it's hard to feel isolated. And so it'll be easy to see like the Boston Police Department bleed into the BU campus, or like Emerson, Brookline, MIT, whatever. Definitely the extra security is there. But I remember too that when I was probably in some of the people who are watching in your position, I also was concerned about how to act and interact with the different people around the world. But BU did a great job in terms of preparing people. So there's different programs and mini classes you actually have to take before you come to BU. And so that got my mind aware of the different practices and policies that the administration is making sure that are enforced, so that people act and behave responsibly around one another, as well as being aware of the repercussions and consequences when people do act out. And then when I got here as well, I also noted, going back to the community, that there are people here who want to talk about serious issues and want to make sure that their voices are being heard. And so when there are malpractices or something is just not sitting right in a community on campus or for the larger student body, that I noticed that there are opportunities to kind of voice your concerns. And so that also, I think, adds to the safety as well, because if there's something that's bothering you as a student or the student body, you definitely have resources going from student health services to mentors to faculty and staff who are available to talk to about your issues.
And the campus is really informed when there is an incident, and whether it's on the campus or even the neighboring communities. We actually are part of our BU alert system, which alerts every student, faculty, and staff member of concerns in certain areas, whether that's maybe a fire at a certain building that they want the community to stay clear of, so that way the fire department can go in and take care of the situation, to be on alert if the BUPD or whoever is on search for someone in the local area. We all get a text message, a voicemail, an email, and what have you. So there are many options and moments where you'll get that, and even some alerts that maybe are a couple miles away from the campus, just that way you know and you're informed about the Boston community as well, and that way we keep all of our students safe, no matter if you're on campus or off, which is great. So it's awesome. Now, speaking of just involvement, right? We had talked about being involved and late nights and early mornings and whatnot. Of course, part of the whole student experience from roommates and others is just involvement on campus, right? Clubs, organizations. We have almost 500 clubs, organizations on our campus, and so I'm sure you all have been involved in some form or fashion of clubs on campus. And so, what is your involvement like, and what clubs or organizations have you been a part of since being here? And anybody can jump in and answer that.
Sure. So right now I'm one of the executive coordinators for Brothers United on campus. Brothers United is a group of minority men on campus that meet weekly to foster a sense of community in that sense, because the university recognized that there was a struggle for men of color to kind of succeed and kind of come together on campus. So as coordinator, I'm involved with handling administrative tasks. We are housed under the Howard Thurman Center for Common Ground, another space on campus in which I'm heavily involved as a campus ambassador, but also a student worker. But both of those organizations kind of come together to really foster that sense of community on campus for all people, from all backgrounds. And so I really enjoy being active in Brothers. I've been there since freshman year as well. Outside of that, I'm a campus coordinator for Teach for America. So I'm involved with actually getting people who will be in your spot, identifying student leaders from the underclassmen class, and really getting them aware of different resources on campus to build their leadership skills, but also get them aware of what TFA has to offer. Additionally, I've been raised in the church, so I'm a part of the Inner Strength Gospel Choir on campus. I cannot hold a note alone, but if anybody needs a backup singer, you know who to call. Exactly. And then finally, I'm a part of the cycling team. Not the official cycling, but I'll get my bike and a couple of friends and I will go out and just experience some of the wildlife that's around Boston and Brookline area, things like that.
Nice.
I hope I don't take this from you, but Bella and I are in the same sorority together. We have been since freshman year. For me, being an international student, I really wanted to see what that was like, Greek life. And at BU, it's pretty small. It's only 15% of the student body that are involved in Greek life, and it's definitely not the only thing that people are involved in. I'm involved in a lot of other things. My freshman year, I came and there's a thing called Splash. And it's basically a student activities fair, and we have one in September for the September starting students, and also in January for anyone starting in January. And it's like over 450 clubs and organizations, get a table and you get swag, and people make you sign up for emails, and I'm still signed up for like 20 organizations.
So many.
And I was like, I've been meaning to go to that. And I was looking for something a little more that I didn't find. So my freshman year, I started my own club. It's He for She at BU. It's a gender equality club. I wanted a platform to engage and educate my peers on gender equality and how it affects everybody, and not just women or minority groups. And throughout my time at BU, I've gotten to collaborate with other clubs and organizations. I've gotten to bring student speakers from other universities, women who are doing wonderful things. There's this girl who was part-time student at Harvard, and she started her own nonprofit organization when she was 16. So she came with us and did a book signing. So that's been really, really cool for me to kind of explore my sense of leadership and my sense of community. And on top of that, one of my favorite things, I guess, that I can talk about now is, as a second semester senior, I decided to get involved with one of the theater troupes on campus. I used to do theater in high school, and I found myself that I really missed it. So I auditioned, and I got a role, and my show already happened, but it was really fun to kind of find a new community on campus, something in the arts that is really, really important to me. So getting involved with that. And I'm also on the Dean's Halls Executive Board for the College of General Studies, which was the college that I started at BU, and I've been involved with them since I think I was a sophomore. I just love the opportunity to meet you guys. Hopefully some of you come to open houses and I'll be there. So it will be fun to get the opportunity to get to know you.
Yeah, we've got two very highly involved individuals here, so I'll try and keep mine brief. But like Fran said, I'm a member of Sigma Delta Tau, our sorority. We actually both spent a year on the executive board, and me as the vice president of philanthropy. And really just the Greek life community as a whole has been such a way that I've found my smaller community here on campus, and that has really connected me to a lot of different opportunities. A lot of the ways I'm involved on campus is actually through various work opportunities. So, for example, I like to speak at admissions, and it's one of my jobs. I actually ended up finding that opportunity through Fran, technically a Greek life connection. Yeah. And I also work in the psychology department for the child development labs, and I also am working as an intern for a company off campus. So working takes up a lot of my time here, in addition to doing my classes. But I try and stay involved, at least at the very minimum, in the Greek life community, and going to different opportunities and events that are happening in campus, whether it's through those connections or through just other people that I've met through my work experiences, and like supporting Fran in her club and things like that.
And being involved on campus also means that you'll be exploring not only BU but Boston as well. And many students are coming within communities that has a really large commuting sort of population, and for many it might be the first time to be using public transportation. And so how do you all get around either campus or even the Boston community? And one of the big questions we have on hand is, do you really need a car on campus?
Yeah, I can speak to that because I'm coming from California, where you need a car to get anywhere. But coming here to Boston was so cool to see the difference, because I truly believe you don't need a car. I mean, you guys can speak to that, what you think, but I find it so easy to get around. I live here on campus, so a lot of the times the way I'm getting around is simply by walking, at least to class and to my jobs that are here on campus. Most often I'm walking. Occasionally, if the weather's super chilly or I'm running really late, I'll take our Boston University shuttle, and that's really convenient because it's running around our campus pretty much all hours of the day. You can hop on, you can hop off at one of the stops. And then we also have the MBTA-T, which is our subway system here in Boston. That's the way that I get to my internship. We have our T passes, and we can get discounts as BU students, so that's pretty easy to navigate as well.
And it runs right through campus.
Right through campus. How many stops? 6? Something like that.
It's a lot. Yeah, and just to echo what Bella said, like, it's very easy to get places here, and I don't know how to drive, so I'm not above.
She doesn't have her license.
I'm not above using like Lyft and Uber. It's a huge city, so they're very easy to use here. And also, if you want to get away for the weekend, Zipcar actually started in Boston, so we have a lot of centers to use that. Students get a discount for the membership, and one of my favorite things about the MBTA line is there's a commuter rail, and you can make it to other states. So Bella and I actually went to Providence for the day, and it was super easy and super accessible to use, and it's fun being in Boston. I mean, we've been in Boston for 4 years, so it was like we wanted to see more, and you can get to another state within an hour, and it was like a $10 ticket for the whole weekend. So it's super accessible, and you can explore anything in the area.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of walking too much anymore. You'll see me on my bike. But Boston is a very big biking city. So if anybody's a biker out there, you're definitely going to see other people on the road with you. Definitely want to stress the safety, wearing a helmet, looking both ways, all those things, all those foundations are very critical, because as everybody's saying, Boston is a very busy city, so you're not going to be able to hog the lane or do things like that. But I've noticed that with the bike, it's also, it turns the walking city into a city that's even more accessible. There's really no problem. There's really no need to kind of spend money on a car. You're not really going too many places. I mean, you'll be going places on campus, but everywhere on campus is easily accessible through walking. Even if you're living off campus too, the public transit is easily accessible. There's stops everywhere you go, so there's no reason to feel like you're lost or you're stuck anywhere. You'll see a lot of students elect to do either walking, which is fine, or you'll get a bike, ranging in price, whatever your interests are or ranges for expenses. But with all three of those options are great for students.
and some of the other perks you get as a BU student with regard to the city of Boston. Obviously, just having access to many companies or organizations for students to do internships and shadowing alums in the field and what have you, to having free access to the Museum of Fine Arts when you can show your BU ID and you get it for free, and some of the other museums in the local area, all the way over to even heading over in the summertime or even in the fall to Fenway Park for $9 tickets to go see the world champion Boston Red Sox do their thing. So, I mean, a lot of things happening for our students, and they really get to explore the city. Now, of course, throughout the week, there's classes and clubs and meetings and studying and all that good stuff. But what about the weekends? What do you all like to do on the weekends when you have that free time? Whether it's in Boston or otherwise.
I'll start to switch up
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
nice.
So my absolute favorite thing to do in Boston is eat. I just love brunch, so specifically. Wow, how special.
Yeah.
But I love brunch, and one of my favorite things to do is try new places for brunch. And I try to go somewhere new every weekend. Last weekend I cheated because I had a friend visiting, so I went. Cafe Luna is my all-time favorite place, and I keep promising Bella that I'll take her, but I've been neglecting her. But the great thing about Boston is because it's such a metropolitan city and there's so many people from all around the world, that means that they bring their cuisines over with them, right? So the South End is great for Latin American food, and we've been to a place that's called Orinoco, and they do Venezuelan food. And I know there's really great Haitian food places. And if you like Italian, we have a whole section of the city dedicated to Italian food in the North End. So I'm very food oriented. So I kind of do my weekends surrounded by where I want to eat. But there's just so many places, and they keep opening up new places. So it's frustrating as a senior because I can't make it everywhere.
Limited time.
Yeah.
I mean, you're at the dining club, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes,
they actually
yes,
get money
yes.
to go try out different restaurants in the city. It's phenomenal.
It's so great.
So jealous.
You will pay you to
Pay to eat, absolutely.
I can speak to it. Similar to Fran, I join her on her food adventures occasionally. Also, I really love going to the museums here in Boston. I really appreciate art, but I am always like, I don't know if, as a student, I want to pay. And the fact that we get free entrance into pretty much almost every museum here in Boston is so nice. And something else I really like to do is just to be able to walk around the city, especially when the weather is nice. A couple of summers ago, you were with me again. Can you tell we're friends? We were living here in Boston for the summer, both working for BU, and we walked all throughout the city to the Seaport from here on campus to go to the Institute of Contemporary Art. And being able to do that, we crossed through so many different neighborhoods of Boston and really got to see the city in a different way with where we don't typically get to, and also go appreciate some art. So that's a really fun way to see the city.
Nice. Anything else to add?
Yeah, your weekends in college, it kind of bridging into the advice, and if I may give any,
Let's go.
Absolutely. It's crucial that you just find some time to just be in a zone of like personal development. So I really enjoy, I usually do it on Saturdays actually. It's kind of like a routine I have now, but I'll spend the first day just getting some solid exercise in at the Boston University FitRec Center. It's our space on campus that houses our gym. We have a pool there, lazy river, climbing wall, and then classrooms for if you're doing like ballet or some type of dance or anything like that, martial arts and things like that. So I also spend some time in there just kind of detoxing my mind as well as my body, getting some good exercise in. But then I also really enjoy music. So I'll usually go somewhere around campus or into the greater Boston area. Kind of go to a jazz club, just listen to some solid music, or maybe in the evening, I really enjoy spending time with friends over some food. So we'll go to probably a local place in Boston or in the surrounding community and just listen to some live music and kind of recap the week or bounce ideas off each other, just have some kind of creative conversation. So just really spending time by myself or with friends on the weekends to kind of de-stress. So it's always a must.
And really, and talking about the city and being ingrained into the culture here, it's great to see that not only from B's perspective, really for the city of Boston, when when events such as the Boston Marathon happens, when you see a lot of our students going out and supporting runners for the Boston Marathon, where if we're so fortunate to have sports teams win, you have the parade that goes through the city where you see so many folks on hand celebrating that victory. To any sort of large-scale events, I mean, there's obviously concerts that go on throughout the city. There's the cultural events. There's dance recitals. I mean, there's the Blue Man Group over at the one of the theaters around town. I mean, there's so much that's happening too that's our students get to take advantage of, which is fantastic. I want to shift gears here, if that's okay with y'all, and kind of switching over to a bit of the academic side. We talk a lot about the student life, and I actually have an individual question for each of you, if you don't mind. So, Bella, we'll start with you. So, can you talk a bit about, I guess as a whole, so you're going to represent a lot of the student body here.
Okay.
Can you talk a little about your interaction with your professors, and if you have one favorite, that's feel free to share that. And also utilizing office hours as well, and how that progressed for you throughout your time here.
Yeah, so I've had so many, like probably countless, really incredible professors who are not only great teachers, but really are experts in their fields. And that's been such a privilege to be able to be learning from these kinds of people. One of my favorite professors that I've had over the past few years has been Professor Virginia Sapiro, who actually was the former dean of the College of Arts and Sciences here at BU. Yeah, you know her. Professor Sapiro is an amazing and really impressive lady. I took a class called Political Psychology of Group-Based Politics, which is a mouthful, but was my all-time favorite class. Granted, it's the intersection of my two majors, but I took that class with Professor Sapiro with a group of 13 of us where we sat around 3 hours once a week. Some people that might sound like hell. That's my ultimate favorite kind of class scenario. But Professor Sapiro was so accessible to all of us, not only during class time, but outside of class time. Like I said, I was really interested in the subject matter, so I definitely picked her brain during office hours. I ended up writing a paper where it turns out all of the major research out there is by her or is quoting her research. So talked to her a lot about that. But I also really just was able to talk to her about her career and how she ended up studying what she studies and her interests and my interests and what I might want to pursue in the future. She ended up writing my letter of recommendation for my study abroad program. So she's been an excellent example of a connection that I've made with a staff or faculty member.
That's awesome. Now, Fran, so you had mentioned a little bit about College of General Studies, correct? So you started your journey in CGS. For many students, they also will be starting in CGS. CGS, the College of General Studies program, now will start in that January cohort this year. But can you talk about how CGS would fit in your overall sort of academic journey, and were you able to really accomplish all of your academic goals while starting in CGS?
Yeah, absolutely. So the College of General Studies is a 2-year liberal arts program. So it's not a degree granting school. I'm getting my degree from the business school, but basically it has a bigger focus on getting your liberal arts education first. So everyone, so Bella didn't start there, but you had to do liberal arts requirements, right? So BU is a liberal arts institution, so it wants to make sure all its students are well-rounded regardless of what we study. So the great thing about the College of General Studies is it's a little bit smaller. So even the class size that BU has, the CGS is a tiny bit smaller, and you have your professors for a full year versus a semester, and you're with your classmates for a full year versus a semester. So that means for me, I was more comfortable asking questions and participating in class because I was comfortable with my peers. I was more comfortable and had even better connections with my professors because I had them for a full year. Just to give you an example, Professor Wiggins was my writing professor, so he taught intro to college writing as well as research writing. And I was not the most confident writer. So getting to go to his office hours multiple times throughout the semester and then the year and getting to work out the type of writer that I wanted to be and how I wanted to work on these assignments was awesome because I became a good writer. I ended up with an A in the class, and it was not something that I expected, but it was having that accessibility to those office hours, to me trusting him as a professor and having that kind of connection. He knew who I was, and he knew what kind of advice I needed. And while I was in the College of General Studies, I was also taking classes in the business school, so it wasn't like I had a later start or I was, having to do my business curriculum in a shorter amount of time. I was just doing more of a focus on my liberal arts first, and then once I was done with that, I've had a complete focus on my business education second, which for me has been great because I have some peers that are taking, philosophy 101 as a second semester senior because they forgot they had to do that liberal arts education. And I've been able to take courses in business as well as in psychology. I've been able to study abroad, and I'm doing that in 4 years. So it hasn't put me at any disadvantage whatsoever. If anything, it's put me at an advantage, because all the things that I learned at the beginning with my liberal arts, I've been able to apply to my business courses instead of, taking them as a checkbox. All the knowledge that I have kind of supplements what I'm learning now in my business courses.
An important piece to all that, what Fran's mentioning, she will be graduating on time with the study abroad, going to Question School of Business and CGS all in one, all the clubs you're involved with, which is great. So it's doable. It's absolutely doable, all those requirements. Now, man, I'm gonna hit you with a kind of a unique question when it comes to education, because I think when it comes to majors, CGS and what have you, I would argue that I think part of the education experience is also that work experience and really being in your field or in a different type of field to really understand and get the context of the education that you're getting and applying it into that specific arena, and whether or not you want to continue with it or not. And so you've had many work experiences since being here. Can you just briefly talk about some of the experiences you've had? And maybe some of your more recent work that you've done that kind of fit into your overall sort of scheme when it comes to your major and your education as a whole.
Sure, yeah.
Great.
So the summer of my sophomore year, so last summer, I was working at a creative communications role. I was a content creator for a poetry organization called Power Poetry. It's the world's first and largest online team-based poetry community. And in that role, I was conducting a lot of public relations. I was managing their social media. I was developing new social and digital tactics and branding strategies to really incorporate the brand of Power Poetry into the larger youth community of New York, but also the general world itself, right? Because it's a globally based platform. So I was on a small team. Again, PR, a lot of my PR classes are small team based. I was doing a lot of reading and writing and research. A lot of my PR and communication classes are reading, writing, and research. And then I was also managing data and trying to understand technological analytics and new software and platforms like Google Analytics, for example. In public relations, those are critical tools that you have to use to better understand your client. And so there was a lot of overlay between what I was learning in my class and actually doing in that job, and what I was actually learning in sophomore year kind of led me to that position. And that position I actually got using a BU resource called Handshake, which is accessible from the Center for Career Development, and it's a unique tool that gives BU students access to jobs that are really only available to BU students because employers want to be looking at BU students. We were ranked in the top 7 worldwide for employability, so that was a unique tool that I was able to use. Now this upcoming summer, I'll be, hence the blue shirt, I'll be working as a human resources intern at LinkedIn. And so again, that's learning how to take what I was doing in the classroom in terms of business management, internal communications, corporate communications, using my corporate communications course, for example, from this past semester, and implementing it into the real world. Especially since I'll be the first intern in this position, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to take the actual ideas that I worked on in the classroom with classmates and professors and peers, and use the struggle from the classroom to actually go into LinkedIn and say, hey, this is what, communications like this is how you can bring the textbook to life. And so those experiences have helped too, because, kind of helps bring your academics and your classroom experience to a bigger level when you're getting these real work experience. Because if you're stuck in the classroom, if you're stuck in the books and you don't have a chance to take the theory and put it into practice, then it kind of gets lost in your head, or you become too concerned about your grades. And so BU helping me to find these opportunities. Oh, and the LinkedIn opportunity I forgot to mention was a BU alum as well. And so it was connecting with resources and leveraging connections and relationships. And so again, on the bigger picture, BU stresses bringing what you learn in the classroom and your academics and putting it into real life applications.
Phenomenal. Yeah, some good things coming these guys' way. Now, I want to do something a little interesting now. So I call this the lightning round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say a question, and each one of the students is going to answer it in either one word or one sentence soundbite, and that's it. No explanation or whatnot. So feel free to take notes on what the answers will be. Lightning round begins right now.
Wait, where are we starting?
Don't worry, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
We're going to start with Fran. We'll start off, then we'll go Bella, then Manny. Okay. Fran, can you tell me where your favorite place to eat is on campus? Not your food, but your favorite place to eat.
Nut Pub is a Thai food place. Love it.
Nut Pub.
Yes.
Love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Everyone gets
Forgot.
everyone gets
So sorry. Oh yeah, I actually live right above Buick Street Market where they have Loose Leaves and what is this sandwich place called? I love Loose Leaves.
Loose Leaves. All right, that's great, man.
Georgetown Reunion.
Georgetown Reunion, so keeping the GSU. I love it. We're gonna start with you now again, my friend. Your favorite BU tradition. We'll go down the line.
Favorite BU tradition?
BU tradition.
Solid, easy. Don't walk on the seal.
Let's go.
No, there's no taking. Seniors always want to take the seal.
Senior yet.
We'll break a character for a second. If you step on the seal, urban legend has it. If
won't
you
graduate.
It's not a legend. It's guaranteed.
It's true.
It's guaranteed.
It's
Never
true.
mind. It's a guarantee. Don't step on the seal until you
Don't do
graduate.
It's okay. I have another one. The Bean Pot. We have it's a hockey tournament where we play Harvard, Northeastern, and BC, and we've won the most. So obviously, we're the best.
Clearly.
Not bragging or anything. No.
It's just the truth.
I was gonna say hockey games in general, just because I didn't know hockey at all until I came to BU, and they're so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say lobster night.
Oh, I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
That's a good one.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go start back with Manny again. Okay. If you had, I'm gonna throw a side one because I know we discussed this earlier. Your one-liner piece of advice for all the students that are watching us tonight. What would you want them to know?
Fail fast and fail forward.
Ooh, I like that.
Introduce yourself to your classmates, say hi to the person in the elevator, and keep your door open to meet people.
Get that door stopped. I like it.
Get involved, whatever your interests are. There are people here on campus that you will be able to form connections with. Get involved.
And finally, what's your favorite piece of BU gear you like to wear?
Shirt.
This shirt.
Yeah.
That's a solid question.
This one. My roommate gave this to me
Nice.
when she graduated last year, and apparently you can't get this one anymore, so
No, it's
I
not.
get asked a lot, like, where'd you get that? Oh, it's
Yeah.
vintage. Because I'm old.
It takes like a year for things to become vintage.
I know. It goes fast.
All right, gotta do a shameless plug.
Let's hear it.
If you go, students in your position, if you go on, type in Boston University photos from 2016, you'll see me in a red shirt that says Boston on it and Go BU on the back with shades and a backwards red hat. That shirt, pinnacle of my career, framed, laminated, hung in my room, super comfortable.
Is
and
orientation.
Exactly. Yeah, my orientation shirt. You guys will have your own shirt, and that should be your own reason to come to you because they're mad comfortable, mad unique, and only your class gets it.
Mhm.
So yeah, if you go online and you see a handsome brother in a red shirt, then you know.
Remember this man. Remember this man. Remember this.
No more questions.
I can't. Thank you all for doing the lightning round. I hope you guys took notes as we're talking about this. So we have come down to the finale and the final question I have for each of you. So it doesn't matter who wants to start with this question, but what is one thing, looking back at your time, that you will miss about Boston University?
We're in our second semester seniors, so
We'll start with Manny then.
We just got
Get the tissues ready.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's a great question, actually.
I have my answer.
Okay.
If you want me to go?
Okay.
I'm ready. It has been the most incredible 4 years, and the thing that I will miss the most are the people that I've connected with. I think that the people that I've had the privilege of meeting and have been surrounded by, whether that's in class, in work, in being involved in different things here on campus, have made me grow so much as an individual and have pushed me to be better. The BU student body is absolutely incredible and is engaged in every sense of the word and makes me feel like I belong and that I am always going to be developing. And that is the thing that I'll be missing the most, is that sense of being surrounded by the most incredible people. Am I going to make you cry?
I think I'm really going to miss learning all the time. And I don't think I'm ever going to stop learning, but I don't think I'm going to be in an environment where I can learn literally every minute of every day, either from my friends, from my classmates, from my coworkers, from my professors, just from failing a course or, learning something new in my classroom. Like, learning to this intensity, I'm going to miss so much because yes, I'm excited for the workplace and I'm excited for, what comes after it, but I just feel so lucky to be surrounded by this intellect that there is here, and also this incredible drive that BU students have. Everybody here wants to be successful in different ways, and I'm going to miss that a lot.
Final word, man.
A key thing that BU preaches is its global diversity, and that's not just a marketing tactic to get students to come here. You come here and you truly do meet people from all over the world. I mean, it's you sit down in a dining hall and you can hear 10 different languages between you getting up to get some ice cream and returning to your chair. Like, it's just, there's so much of the world present here, and that's a unique opportunity that not all students, not all schools, and not all places after graduation have for students when they leave their undergraduate days. And that's something I've really come to appreciate at BU. It's made me more of a global citizen in all sense of the world. It's helped me to live in solidarity with other people and just become a more globally connected person to the issues and the problems, but also the joys and successes that people all over the world share. Because those people that come from those areas all come to congregate at BU. And that's been a truly unique and blessing experience that I've come to appreciate during my time here.
And we want you to experience all of that. Couldn't have said it better myself. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to all of you for being admitted to the university. You're going to be awesome here. Thank you so much to our panel, and we'll see you all soon. Take care, and thank you so much.